talk about Spotify and fake artists.
So like it's like ghost kitchens for music?
Exactly. And I didn't realize how long this has been going on for until I started researching this. There have been a lot of claims recently about Spotify manufacturing music, making money for themselves and skirting around paying royalties.
Oh, fuck.
What?
Music Business Worldwide actually broke a lot of this story, and they are cited in Rolling Stone articles, New York Times articles, and they have done some pretty incredible research and follow-up on this particular topic because the music industry is pretty fucking pissed about what's happening.
More pissed than Napster, or what are we talking on a scale of Napster to today?
Napster, I think, was kind of the shot heard around the world of like, okay, everyone's getting this for free. Now this is, oh, you guys are making money on your own and not actually having things
So worse.
that exist.
Right.
And there's a lot of nuance to it, and it's really kind of bizarre how people are taking advantage of this. So,
Well, if it's got nuance, then we're your podcast.
Absolutely. You've come to the right place.
Spotify has a lot of sway and a lot of control over the things that they do, and a lot of people use Spotify to discover new music, put ambiance to their dinner parties, to go to sleep, to have something to zone out to.
It's convenient. It's easy. It's right there.
Yeah, I mean, so a quick poll of our podcast hosts. Who uses Spotify here? I know I do.
I should just raise my hand. Yes, I do.
Yes, it's an audio medium first and foremost. Carla. Do either of you use Pandora anymore? Because I used to use it a lot.
No.
I never even really used it when it was kind of popular. I know like places that I worked would use it. It felt like more of like an easier, cheaper way for business to just like have their store.
I did the
music
same
playing.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did use Pandora for music discovery at one point, but it did start to repeat,
Yes.
and so I found that seam and I just got out and was annoyed at it.
Yeah. Well, I'm also one of those like people that if I'm gonna listen to something, typically I'm in the mood to listen to a band, or more specifically, a record. Like I'll listen to a record straight through. The whole like shuffling and radio stuff has never really been my thing because it can sway in genre. Even if you pick a genre, I've noticed, and Spotify does this too. It's not that great. It only really plays random hits from whatever genre you've selected. It doesn't do like I want to hear. If I want random, I want to hear literally random songs from a record.
Not something based off a song I like. I'm quite picky, which is really funny because if you knew what my music taste was, you'd be like, really? That's what you're picky about? but I am picky.
Doom and grunge.
Yeah, I'm not like one of those guys who can go to the bar and know every fucking lyric of every pop song, you know what I mean? It's hard for me to be on the shuffle game too. Anyways, guys, this has been Pandora's Box with Kyle, Harlan, and John. We were just gonna...
I mean, this entire... If we named our episode, this would be Pandora's Box, colon Spotify's poor choices. Speaking for myself personally, I do use those types of things to find new artists. I do use Spotify has your release radar. It has all of these like kind of curated playlists that exist to kind of be like, all right, so you're going on a fucking desert drive, and then you put on that.
Here's a bunch of psych rock.
Yeah, and so what Spotify does is they curate those playlists, and it can really boost a band if they get on those playlists. And so the way that they do that is a mystery to me because I don't work at Spotify, but essentially you can rally to get on those playlists either through a publicist or things like that. Internal music business kind of things to get yourself placement on podcast or on playlists that will get more views, especially the Spotify created ones. It generates more plays, it generates revenue for you, and your band or your music in general will grow.
So it's like when actors campaign to have like a role in a movie like submitted to like the Emmys or whatever. Interesting. Okay.
There are also people who are employed to make playlists. So there are either people that you can follow that are playlist creators that are very like respected. They have a huge following and they're known for XYZ playlists, and so you can get new music that way.
Playlists are also really powerful in another way too, where it instantly gives bands with like their songs, if they make it onto a playlist, they're now associated with these other bands that are on this playlist. So say you're like a nothing band, but now you're on the same playlist as the Arctic Monkeys. Like if someone's coming into it, oh, they're this band, it must be something worthwhile if they're with the Arctic Monkeys. It's like if you see a painting in an art gallery versus a painting laying on the sidewalk on the side of the road. It could be the same painting.
Right. It's all about context.
You take it completely differently when it's in that context.
Right.
So.
I guess I've never really thought about it that much because I rarely ever do the like, here's your weekly, whatever the fuck they're called. I don't even really pay attention to what they're called because one,
I do that all the time.
the fucking UI on Spotify is dog shit and it's about to get a lot worse, which you might talk about. I don't know if you have.
Nope.
Oh, okay. So
We'll save that for the end.
Yeah.
You guys let us know how much shittier.
The UI in general has never been something that I've been able to like really engage with. For whatever reason, maybe it's the way my brain works, but every time those things come up, I look at what's in the playlist and I go, I don't want to try that. And then I just go back and listen to like stuff I already know. I have done it a few times.
Propagandy.
Here we go.
Yeah, Propagandy. But I think from like trying it the few times to be like, oh, I'm fucking bored with Propagandy.
And trash talk.
And trash talk. I have found a few bands, but that so rarely happens. There doesn't seem to be a way, like an incentive for the user to, at least from my type of user, to try those playlists.
Because you're resistant. You are a resistant curmudgeon who doesn't like change.
I'm not.
This episode is not for you, Harlan. If you want to just go ahead and click off.
Getting dangerously close to sounding like a music snob.
I know. Well, I already did that earlier.
So the thing is with these specific playlists, especially the ones that are created by Spotify, is that they have massive followings and people just click into them randomly because within each category there's like sleep funk, you know, your general kind of genres like rock, pop.
It's like sleep funk,
funk, you know, retro sleep funk. So it's those kinds of things. New wave retro sleep funk.
Post sleep funk.
most sleep funk hardcore.
Oh man, somebody make that genre. I want to hear
good.
that song.
I want it on a t-shirt, like all just the
These playlists get a lot of traffic and the artists that are on them get a lot of plays. And so people click onto them and honestly don't even give a second thought about it.
Right.
Some of them are not necessarily looking for finding a new music. They're just looking to have something on in the background, or they're looking to like put something on while they study or while they cook dinner. These types of things. But regardless of what the intention of somebody going on and putting on a playlist, those play counts are still generating money for the artist, or should be the artist, or Spotify, because there's a 60-40 split, if I'm not mistaken, between Spotify and the artists. So what's happening is people are finding fake artists in these playlists. There are artists that are appearing on these playlists, specifically things like jazz and chill and peaceful piano, and things that are not necessarily like your top 40 hits, your like brand new releases, that kind of thing that people are just putting on for a dinner party.
Things that the everyman wouldn't probably have a deep well of knowledge about the jazz world.
I'm just confused of how these fake artists, or if you will, fartists,
Yes, naturally.
how they're generating sound. Is it like procedurally generate? Like, how is it generated? How is the music made?
I
How is
assume
it
it's like
fake?
session musicians are getting paid.
Yes, it is session musicians.
Can you define what a session musician is for anybody that doesn't really get that's listening?
Session musicians are people who are paid a flat fee to come in and do a day's work. They're essentially like music day laborers.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh no!
They come in and they do a job and they leave, and they don't have any ties or any sort of like claim to it, and especially most importantly, they don't have access to the masters.
Oh no!
and residuals of said work. They agree to a flat fee, essentially a day rate for their work. And a lot of that
Kind of like
is
what Alec
being-
Guinness did for A New Hope.
the most topical and relevant reference that you could possibly
It's a
add
total.
to this.
It's galaxies apart. It's galaxies apart.
It's essentially trailing back to a certain amount of producers. There are a few that have been contributing. The article that I found that I'm referencing came out August 31st, 2016, was when this first came out. So this has been going on for a long fucking time. And Spotify has come out and said, no, we don't do that, but it's still happening. And the thing is that it's happening kind of under the radar. It's a weird gray area where they are employing essentially some producers to make music. Spotify owns these masters.
Oh my god.
So they're not paying
They're getting 100% of the
anybody
stream
for these things. They get 100% of like ad revenue because people don't all have paid subscriptions, and they're getting 100% of everything that comes from these playlists. And so their incentive is to pump these things out.
Kind of a baller play. That's a Succession move right there. That's what that
It is. One of the producers' name is Daniel Eakes, and coincidentally, there is a through line here that multiple of these producers that have been found to have ties to this are based in Sweden.
It's always this. It's always the Swedes, man.
Metallica bought a record pressing facility this week.
Okay.
If that's news to anybody, because for the first time since 1987, vinyl has sold
I
out,
saw
or
that.
has sold higher than CDs.
Yeah.
And so what is happening is artists are making their money in physical vinyl and streaming services. And the streaming services, as Kyle and I can attest to, is fucking fractional.
Yeah.
You don't get any fucking money. And if there are other people contributing that do not exist and muddying up the
Right.
waters of this is bad news for all music creators.
it's such a weird thing to think that Spotify is essentially stealing jobs from other
100%.
from musicians, because we see it all the time in like normal like service industry or businesses that make a product where they outsource it, right? They send those manufacturing jobs, thanks Reagan, to overseas. It's so weird to put it in the context of art, though. There's like something that like almost doesn't really connect in your brain a little bit there, because we're so used to the idea of art being, it comes from an individual or a group of people, and it's this pure thing that only a human could make. Spotify stepped in and was like, fucking hold my beer, motherfucker. Check this shit out.
Yeah.
We got Swedes
Big
like
time.
Ludwig Göransson. We're gonna fucking pluck and just have him make millions of CDs and songs and shit. It's so weird.
Along that line is something that both myself and a good friend of ours are guilty of, which is a Spotify artist called, well, the overarching name of the artist is called Strange Fruits. But essentially they create different playlists, and I guess they're technically artists called different things fruits. So for me, jazz fruits.
Oh.
Yes.
So like grunge fruits.
I don't know if they've gone that far, but
Doom fruits.
It is like lo-fi jazz dance,
Shoe
like
fruits.
those types of things.
That one doesn't work as
Shoe
well.
fruits?
Shoegaze.
Fruit booters.
That one does not necessarily work.
Okay.
This one is headquartered in the Netherlands, and this is the name of the company is Strange Fruits. What they do is they create these playlists that are hundreds of songs long, but each section is broken up into 30 seconds.
Oh,
Is 150 songs, and it plays seamlessly.
But they're collecting revenue off each 30 seconds.
Every single 30-second song
this
is a
reminds
play.
me of that band who put
I was
out.
going to talk about that.
Oh, okay. I'll let
We can
you.
talk about it now. This is a perfect time to do it. But basically, like,
What was the band? The name of the band? Because it wasn't Sleep.
I tried to find it. I
I
couldn't
think the
find
record
it.
is called Sleep or something.
A band wanted to raise funds for their tour, and they told all of their fans to basically put their album on while they slept because it had no music on. They just wanted to
fucking
have that.
put that repeat
I think it was
button
like-
on.
Yeah, it was 5 songs, I think, that were 30 seconds long on repeat. And this was before Spotify. This was very early on
Probably
in Spotify.
gave Spotify the idea for this shit.
Potentially.
There was a fucking blueprint right there.
Yeah, and they made a shitload of money because every one of their fans put it on when they slept, and that's easily 8 hours.
You guys can't do that anymore, but we're gonna do it.
That's wrong. That's a great fucking idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Why didn't we think of that? We're Spotify.
We did think of that. Wink, wink.
Right, yeah.
So Sleep Fruits put out, or Strange Fruits put out a playlist called Sleep Fruits.
New wave sleep funk fruits.
There's too many syllables in this.
How many prefixes does this fucking band have?
Strange Fruit put out
Okay.
Sleep Fruits,
Okay.
which has outplayed Lady Gaga in streams. And the owner of this record label, Stef Van Vogt,
Wow, I was about to say, but I bet you it's something Swedish.
he basically said in response, don't hate the player, hate the game. Like, I figured this shit out. I can't decide if I'm, like, stoked on that or pissed because, like, there's a certain amount of rules that we as people follow in society that's like, look, this is good for everybody.
Especially artists. Like, I feel like the people who are creatives, right?
Yeah.
There almost feels like in some cases there is this unspoken code of ethics that, like, most of us, I'll lump myself in there. I considered myself a photographer for a long time, and I saw a lot of other photographers that were not great. A lot of photographers are actually really bad people. And I see that and those things happening, and I'm like, come on, God, you're ruining the whole field of that art by doing this thing. And it's not just like, it's not only gonna land on your shoulders, like consequences for you, it's gonna fucking have a ripple effect through the entire quote unquote industry, right? And it bums me out when I see people that are artists or creatives not thinking about their fellow creatives, because it's already such a hard way to live. Like, you constantly hear about the starving artist, and it's like, that's a fucking thing for a reason. You don't make money making art. Picasso was broke for the majority of his life, or Van Gogh. Like, he didn't get famous until after he died. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so stop, just come on, guys. We're like in this together a little bit here.
I mean, I agree. Like, a good thing to think about is, hey, Smells Like Teen Spirit happened, and then guess what? A lot of other bands in that region got really popular.
So what is really interesting about all of this is that there are so many bands that exist now on Spotify that are completely fake, that are essentially just genre-based, and there are ways to spot them. That they appear on these playlists, and if you're paying attention and you like, oh, I really like this, like I want to find out more about them, and you click onto their page, you might find that there's 2 songs, 3 songs, and not any kind of bio or anything like that.
We started playing music together in the Chelsea Hotel after a bender one night. Like, there's no, like, nothing at all.
Nothing like that. But furthermore, there's no Facebook, there's no Twitter, there's no homepage, there's no SoundCloud, there's nothing like that. And
John, maybe they're just like word of mouth. Maybe,
but you're seeing these tracks that have 500,000 to
like
3
baller
million
numbers
streams.
for like these dudes. Can't bother to
And
put
you're
a
like,
bio
shit,
up.
I want to catch these guys on tour, and it's like, no, that's not gonna happen.
This is 3 dudes in a 2-hour afternoon session.
it's just an iPod or like an iPhone connected to the Wi-Fi on one of those stands on a giant stage.
They're headlining Coachella this year.
I want to go see New Age Sleep Funk Brutal Madness. Let's go.
The thing that I loved in researching this is that I kind of like fell in love with Music Business Worldwide as a publication. So everyone go there and get your music news, because they're savage as fuck on this site and just kind of super bitchy, and I love it.
I love the name too. Is like
It
very
sounds fake.
Yeah, it does.
sounds
It does, but
fake.
it is a reputable and hard-hitting fucking organization. I'm all about them.
It's like Andrew Callahan with the Channel 5 news.
Oh, yeah, well, I was
It's like
thinking-
that.
It's fucking
Step Brothers.
Yeah, Step Brothers.
Prestige worldwide. Why?
They were like, we found 50 artists that are fake on your platform, and they're like, we want to not say what they are out of respect, kind of like we don't want to like blow up your spot. And then at a certain point, they're like, nah, fuck it, we're gonna post it. And so they found tracks by 50 fake artists that
50.
were about 520 million Spotify streams. And so with their traditional payout metrics, that would be worth more than $3 million in royalty payouts. And that's just what they know about. So that definitely can't be
Is this
all of it.
called embezzling in other
Yeah,
terms?
well, this feels illegal.
It's a loophole for sure because
Like it's like you're paying yourself. It's like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
It's so
embezzling.
weird.
That's embezzling.
That's what I'm saying.
but it's not, because what you're doing is like they are essentially saying like we hired a contractor, so an outside producer to make something for
Under
us, which we
Spotify
then,
Studios, a separate company
Yes.
probably.
So it's as if like Kyle and I put out a record and we are just paying ourselves with the money that we made from it. Like there's no difference between what they're doing and what bands are doing. The only thing is that they control the market. But they're not a monopoly because other artists have other platforms like Apple Music, they have Pandora, they have Tidal. I don't know if that fucking still exists.
Last FM. Remember that?
Yeah, Bands in Town. Music Business Worldwide posted the list that they have. So they put it all up online. It's very readily available for people who want to go and see what these artists are. A lot of them just are kind of like consonants and vowels slammed together. Or just really like vague things, like Greg Barley has 2 tracks and has like 12 million plays. The most plays on this is by an artist called Amity Cadet, and they have 9.2 million plays.
Bad band name.
Man, this sucks so bad.
Oh, there's even more.
Like-
Benny Tresclo has 14.9 million. Greg Barley has 21.4. These are just absurd numbers for them to be paying this out.
Do you guys ever get on Amazon and you look for some like basic household thing, or like maybe you need a new bag, like a backpack, or you need just something, you know, that you don't really think about?
A topical tea.
A tea, yeah. And you go and you look and you've got brands that are just clearly white label companies that exist that are the same thing, where they're just like the names are like Kushkensk, and it's like, what the fuck is this? And they're literally just consonants or words like Shibo. What is this? And they're all selling the same fucking product, but there's thousands of them. It feels like the same thing.
I'm
You're
a
just
patron of
flooding
those companies. I have so many weird,
those small
illegitimate
businesses.
cables running throughout my.
Yes, that's another great kind of product.
This podcast is powered by illegitimate cables.
Yeah, held together by the Shibo brand.
Brought to you by
Shibo.
Can we make Shibo shirts?
Yeah, I love Shibo as a brand. This is great. It's our in-house embezzling brand. Let's do it.
I'm actually gonna see if that's a real brand that
It
shows up on
probably is.
Amazon.
It's too convenient of like a string of like sounds. It's gonna be a fucking
Shibo.
brand. Shibo.
No, there's Sibo and there's Shishido.
Okay, we're good.
Well, lock it in.
Lock it in. Get the domain. Get
The domain.
Okay,
name
going right
now.
now to GoDaddy.
Trademark.
GoDaddy. Okay.
So this is a horrifying turn of events for all music creators.
Mm-hmm.
In recent developments, it seems like major labels are kind of like on board.
Oh no, they see the opportunity too. They're all about it, dude.
Yeah. Sony Music is the latest to kind of like dip their toe into this. And something that I didn't even kind of scratch the surface of is artists creating music specifically for TikTok. There are artists that are now starting to create sounds and songs that are 30 seconds long to just essentially exist on the internet for Spotify or for TikTok sounds. And it's the same principle, and the shorter attention span that people have, potentially the more money you
One
can make.
step further with this is that artists are choosing, like, you always choose kind of like a string of singles to release before an album comes out. The decisions are now being made which ones are the most clippable or like usable in TikTok videos. Like those are the ones that get released first now too.
This is where I'll mention what I learned recently about
Sure.
the direction Spotify is going, which is to video. So, Kyle,
Oh yeah, I did see that update. That looks like fucking trash. Basically, you're gonna have to scroll through like TikTok.
yeah, it's basically trying to jump on the TikTok thing, just like Instagram did with Reels. There's a Wall Street Journal. I can't read it because I have to pay for it, but the headline says,
Once again, guys, hard-hitting journalism.
It worked out so well for TikTok. I'm so glad Spotify's jumping on board. The fucking Kardashians were like, why did you ruin our fucking app? Yeah, like the backlash to this thing where it's like, hey, everyone who is in the social media universe, this is not the only thing that we want
Yeah.
to do. We like everything how it fucking is. Stop messing with it.
this Wall Street Journal headline says, Spotify launches new video feed to keep listeners listening. That doesn't
And
literally
watching?
makes absolutely no sense.
It's gonna make me throw that app in the trash.
It's called Previews. The Previews feature offering recommendations via TikTok-style clips aims to boost user engagement.
So I've noticed like certain bands of certain popularities and financial backings, or status. Like when you play a song, there'll be like an animated background.
Yes, and I hate it.
Yeah, which I kind of liked. I was like, oh, that's fun. But then I click it off and put it in my fucking pocket. Like, I'm not watching the fucking music video.
Yes, John, that's exactly what I was gonna say. I'm like, oh, it's a cool little 10-second loop. That's probably for the music video. Right on. Psh, my phone is, the screen is off when I'm listening to Spotify.
Stop trying to make MTV a thing again. We did it. It had its day in the sun. We don't watch fucking TVs anymore. Stop. Stop it.
Music goes in
Look,
my ear.
it's a bunch of men in their mid to late 30s yelling at a cloud. And that's what this podcast is. So what we've gathered is the most relevant people to talk about the things that they care about.
We're really
the most.
breaking the mold.
Stop changing my shit.
Can I talk to you guys about the brands that I found on Amazon that sound like Shibo, by the way?
Yep, I'm done.
Really quick?
yeah, let's do it.
So I went to Amazon and I typed in Shibo, spelled Sheibo.
Oh,
I figured
was
that
thinking
made sense.
Sheebo.
Yeah, I don't like that.
No, I liked the I. It made it sound more
Sure.
luxury.
Okay.
But some of these brands and products that came up, there is a dog grooming vacuum by a...
See, that's the thing. Immediately,
already has
Shiba.
notes.
Shiba.
Shiba.
Yeah.
Totally. Well, the letters that they used for this brand are... Well, let me see if I can pronounce this. Lumvk. It is
Okay.
LMVVC is the brand. We've also got Shashibo, a shape-shifting box. Don't even know.
We're gonna need to dive into that at a different time.
We've got a bunch of shelving units for a brand called Rebii, Reibii.
I hate that.
Guys,
A desk called Fazebo.
it's not a
just
gazebo.
so good.
It's Fazebo.
Fazebo.
I thought of something else that we could basically add to the wheel of the web.
Oh, yes.
It's a hot or not, but for fake Amazon brands.
Oh, there we go. Oh, man. There are actually, though, some actual brands, like Andis is the razor company. So I think Amazon is just like, we know this is a fake brand, but we're not sure if you know that. So here's some real brands also.
Yeah, Amazon is kind of like the chill as fuck. Like, I don't know, man. They're cool.
let's
It's whatever.
start our
Yeah.
Amazon called Mamazon.
Now, is that...
And,
I don't-
and we
Kyle.
sell everything Amazon does, except it's under Mamazon.
So wait, it's not a clever play on words at all, or what?
Yeah, it's just that you just left that on the table.
I was like, is it Amazon for mammals, or is it Amazon with people with mammary glands?
Mammals only.
I thought it was Manazon.
Yeah, that's also where I was
No, I
going.
said
mans.
Mamazon, like just literally adding an M to the front.
Wait, how about this? Here, let me here. Hang on. Shark Tank. It is Mamazon.
Wow, this devolved
Yep.
quickly.
It really has. It's Mamazon,
Uh-huh.
but it's M-A a hyphen apostrophe A-M, ma'am. So it's for ma'ams, for elderly women.
Right. That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying.
ma'am.
Yeah. We're there.
Oh.
No, we're there now. We're good.
Oh.
That was not clear
That was
at all.
not clear at all.
When-
You got to see it spelled out for it to really
when you play
work.
it back, when you play it back, you guys are gonna hear where I tried to go there, but I got cut off. It's fine.
we were just so confused.
On On this show? You got cut off?
Everybody gets cut up on this
Shocking.
fucking show.
You're cut off, and you're cut off, and you're cut
Everything
off.
I'm saying is more important than what Harlan's saying. Everything that Harlan's saying is more important than what John's saying.
Yes.
Everything that John's saying is more important
We
than what I'm
just-
saying.
We decide that individually.
So it's just like a round robin.
It's rock, paper, scissors in pre-pro.
Whoever gives up is the loser trying to get their thought
To
out.
fight for your right to speak on this fucking show.
Well, this is the weirdest ending to an episode I think we've ever
Is
had.
there no more to the story? Is that it? I don't even know.
No, I mean, basically the music industry is as doomed as it ever was.
Good.
Right.
And it is the snake eating itself, and the person that suffers is the creator, as it always has been.
Well, is this another case of capitalism? Oops. Got too much capitalism.
Yeah, it's definitely oops all capitalism on this one. The problem is that like artists are figuring out the loophole and taking advantage of it, which is also fucking over other artists. So that is like a weird, uncomfy, kind of dirty bathwater feeling where it's like, okay, I respect that you figured out how to make money, but also you're fucking over so many countless other people.
Sure, 100%. But they're also not the people that made the system allow them to do that, which is where I'm kind of like, you're putting them in a
Chicken
corner.
or the egg
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, like, what do you expect people who are already trying to make this their living gonna do?
As somebody who is a rule follower, it's hard for me to side with the people that are broken
Yeah.
and doing all that shit. So
100%.
it's like I wanted to go the honest route in music and like do it organically and have it be something that was like nice, but I should have been.
Look where that got you, dummy.
I should have been born into the Cyrus family, honestly.
Yeah,
so.
that would have done it.
Hey, go follow us on Patreon and give us money and the YouTube and subscribe on iTunes and Spotify. I don't know. I feel
Follow
weird
us on
saying that after
Spotify.
this episode.
Let's start a playlist. Let's do it.
I don't think they don't fucking pay us. Fuck them. But also listen on it. Listen on Spotify. Let's make a playlist of just our podcast.
Yeah. Then just cut up into 30-second bits.
Oh my god, how annoying would that be?
But yeah, call to action. Share it. That's the biggest thing you can do to help us. We get a lot of comments from very nice people being like, I can't believe you haven't blown up. And while that's nice, yeah,
Tell a friend.
it sucks
Yeah.
too. I'm tired of hearing that comment. So do your part and share it. Thank you. That's my PSA.
We love you, and frankly, good luck out there.
And everyone wanted to know which president was the true throat goat. And
Okay, I do remember this.
And they are all some sort of eldritch monsters of yore, right?
She was also selling videos of her farting in the jar.
I hate this so much. I hate everything about this.
yeah.
Secure to starboard.